here. We are going to try this again. Oh, can I zoom in? Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize I could do that. We're going to try this again because I did this last night talking about Yalda's night and the 2K subscriber event that I'm having here on my channel. And I realized this morning when I went back, because it takes about 12 hours for a live video to finish processing, at least in my experience. When I went back, I realized that, see, when I started recording before, it told me to turn my camera horizontally, right? Like to stream that way. That's what it told me to do when I started the stream. So I did that, and then I realized that my entire image was tilted also sideways. So it's just weird. And you know, it makes sense because when I was streaming last night, I kept having to read comments. Like I would have to tilt my head like my pug to like read a comment. So that makes sense. Anyways, I really wanted to just totally redo last night's stream, and I wanted to talk more about Yalda's night and like what that's going to entail and what the event is going to entail. So if you are interested in attending this event, you know all the details, you have all the information, you know what it's about, and everyone is welcome to attend. So let me go ahead and talk about that first, because I know that when people watch this sort of playback, this is what they're going to hear and see first. Hey, Stuart, thanks for joining. Things are good. Things are really good. I'm excited. So the channel has grown to almost 2,000 subscribers, which is incredible and amazing. And, you know, it's just wild to think that there's 2,000 of you who want to hear what I have to say, whether you like me or not. I don't know. Like, that's just weird to me. Super amazing though, and super humbling. And I wanted to do something kind of special on the channel to kind of like commemorate this. And with winter solstice coming up, I kind of was thinking of Yalda's night, which is a traditional Persian way to celebrate the winter solstice. And Yalda's night is a very, very beautiful sort of ceremony and ritual, and I am looking forward to doing a live stream with it. Sorry, I just got a text from my friend Farah. Farah Flawless. Check her out on TikTok if you're on TikTok. She's amazing. Hopefully I'll have her on my podcast as the Cauldron Bubbles soon. Alexa, skip. But anyway, Yalda's night, right? So basically, it's a winter solstice celebration, okay? That kind of commemorates the rebirth of the sun. Now, there's a couple different interpretations here, but essentially the main aspect of Yalda's night is you get together with your friends and family, which I plan on doing Yalda's night on the 18th of December. So if you would like to participate in this, then I would, you know, join and kind of put it in your calendar for the 18th of December. Technically, it usually falls on winter solstice, which, as we know, is, you know, when the sun enters the first degree of Capricorn. So this could be anywhere between December 20th to December 23rd, just kind of depending, because these are solar-based holidays. You're already preparing for Thursday. That's amazing. Yeah, so, okay, so, yeah, it's normally on the winter solstice, but I'm doing it on the 18th with you guys, because I already have plans on the winter solstice, of course. So unfortunately, I can't hang out with y'all on the winter solstice. But I do think it'd be super fun for us to do a ritual together, which I've never done a live streamed ritual literally ever before on YouTube. So it'll also be my first live streamed ritual. So we'll kind of have to see how it goes. And, you know, based off of, I guess, how everything goes with that, maybe I'll do more for more sort of milestone aspects. I'm not really sure. And I'm not sure how many of you are already, you know, familiar with Yalda's night. I know that my channel, I have a pretty wide audience of people who watch. And so some of you might already be super familiar. Some of you may already practice Yalda's Night. And if so, I would love to hear how you practice it. Sorry, I just had a brain fart. But so how I'm going to be practicing Yalda's Night and my interpretation, be interested to hear what you know about Ibrahim within the Arabic spirit pantheon. Okay, I'll get to that, Stuart. Remind me and I'll get to that. So, with Yalda's Night, it's a celebration of the winter solstice. So it's kind of the celebration of light conquering the dark, because after the winter solstice, you know, we kind of get into winter, if you will. But it also represents the rebirth of the sun. And that's the sun with a U and not an O. The rebirth of the sun, the coming light. So there's themes of like renewal and promise, life and fertility, hope, faith, you know, those sorts of themes that I think kind of permeate most cultural versions of winter solstice. So that's kind of the overall theme. Now, typically there are tables and there are altars set that have fruits and nuts. Typically the fruits consist of at least watermelon and pomegranate. Sometimes, you know, you'll see like oranges, apples, pears, other fruits, but like traditionally watermelon and pomegranate. And the reason for these particular fruits that will be on the altar is because watermelons represent the light half of the year. And they represent like life and fertility and the light half of the year and the sun. And the whole altar is very, very like red, because red symbolizes life and it symbolizes blood. So lots of red stuff on the altar. Candles, fruit, whatever. Decor, bowls, whatever. So, yeah, that's what watermelon represents. Now, the pomegranates are the dark half of the year's fruit. And the pomegranates, instead of life, represent death and darkness. Not darkness and like necessarily, and this is my own personal take on it. I don't view darkness as necessarily like a bad or an evil thing. Okay, now Yalda's Night, people typically do get together to stave off the evil because it's the most dark day of the whole year. It's the longest night. I don't necessarily view the dark as equivalent to bad and evil. I do think that it's a very spiritual night, and I do think that there are entities and things that, you know, do come out to play that, you know, can cause harm, but that's a whole other tea, okay? I'm getting ahead of myself here. So pomegranates also represent blood, which is, you know, the aspect of life. So in a way, they kind of also represent fertility and life, but they're primarily like a fruit of death, of mediumship and of communication. Alexa, play Sodlam Jared, if she even will. She never listens to me. See, when I had a Google Home, I could listen to all types of music and they always understood me. But for some reason, Alexa, I don't know if I have to go in and change it in my settings, but yeah, I don't know what I need to do about that. I heard that the Moors brought the pomegranates and oranges to Europe. I'm not sure. Maybe. Maybe. Alexa, play Zach Knight.
Here's some music by Zach Knight on Amazon Music.
Use your pomegranate. Yeah, some people use onions that way. I've seen people use onions that way too. So that's the fruit for Yalda's Night. Now there's also typically nuts on the altar, which is very traditional. mixed nuts, which that represents money. So the idea of eating the watermelon, the nuts, and the pomegranate. The pomegranate represents bringing in the darkness, because it's the darkest day of the year. So it's kind of like protecting you with that darkness. The watermelons represent bringing in life, fertility. And then pomegranates grow where you're at. Where are you? Where am I going out to? I'm actually not going anywhere. I'm just getting ready to make some content for Patreon. And that's something else I was going to talk about, was my planetary oils and talking about that, which eventually will come onto YouTube as well. But like all the videos that I record go to Patreon first. So, but the nuts that are eaten on Yalda's night represent money and like good health. So that's why we eat those on Yalda's night. So if you're going to participate in the ritual, like I would recommend that you set up a table of your own for Yalda's night. Like you're welcome to join in on mine. You know, I'll be streaming it here on YouTube, so you can check it out that way. But like, if you want to participate in Yalda's night, like I would suggest that you make an altar for it. So get some red cloth and find a space in your home where you can drape some red cloths and burn some red candles and have bowls, if they can be red or gold or, you know, that sort of, those sort of shades, that'd be even better. But I mean, if not, clear is fine as well. And, you know, you want the space to be really warm looking and really bright. So yeah, and have bowls of nuts and bowls of, or plates of chopped up fruits. You know, you can use oranges and pears and apples as well, but you've got to definitely have watermelon and pomegranate. That's very traditional if you want a traditional Yalda's altar. So yeah. And then now some traditions will also incorporate Mitra, who is a very interesting deity, because we see this deity over time actually evolving. Now, Yalda's night, you know, came from essentially Iran, but it's kind of spread throughout Persia. And, you know, other countries are also celebrating Yalda's night as well. I mean, there's plenty of people who celebrate Yalda's night even here in America. And the holiday has changed and evolved over time. But kind of talking about the traditional aspect of the deity associated with Yalda's night, which a lot of people who are celebrating Yalda's night are also, you know, they might be Christian or Muslim. So not everyone celebrating Yalda's night is celebrating in a pre-Islamic sort of way, or a pre-Abrahamic sort of way, I think is probably the better way for me to say that, because I know that there are plenty of Christians in Iran as well. But the deity who is associated is Mitra, who we find in the South Asian pantheon within India. We find also within the Greco-Roman pantheon. So really interesting deity here. And traditionally with Yalda's night, Mithra is actually a goddess, but we find Mithra appearing later as a god. So now, I personally think that the divine can appear to us however we want them to, or however they want to. Like, I don't necessarily think, and I talked about this on Patreon. I don't know how many of you are on my Patreon, but, you know, I don't necessarily think that primordial universal energy has a gender or a sex. I think that deities can, but who's to say that they can't alter that and change that, right? Just like we can. So, traditionally, this is they do as they will, exactly, and so do we. Hello. So, Mithra being this goddess of flames and of light and of promise and of hope and of renewal. For those of you who celebrate like Imbolc in the Wheel of the Year, which I have the tapestry right behind me. For those of you who celebrate like the Wheel of the Year, think about Bridget and think about things that she represents, right? So like the protector of women and children, guardian of the sacred waters and the wells, a goddess of the forge, a creatrix, a maiden goddess, a goddess of fire, the element of fire, purification and protection. You know, all of these themes are similar themes that we have for Mithra on Yalda's night. Now, I'm going to be celebrating and venerating Yalda's night through that particular form, but there's also the form that we have of Mithra where we have the Greco-Roman version where Mithra then becomes a god. And originally, you know, she's a goddess, but she becomes a god for the Greco-Romans, and she's actually a god of war and conquest, and kind of like colonization to a degree, which, you know, is very controversial. But very, very much like Mars energy and Venus energy with them. And then also we have Mitra, which some argue that this is the original source, and some say that this came into South Asia later, like it started here in the Middle East and then went west into Europe and then came back through like the whole spice trade aspect into South Asia. But that would be one allegation. So whether it could have originated in South Asia or it could have been brought to South Asia, but that would be Mitra, who is that particular interpretation of this divine aspect. So it's a really rich deity and culture and lineage, and especially for people who are, I feel like, neurodivergent or LGBT, I think that this particular conversation is really good to have because, you know, as above, so below, as we are, so the gods. And I have a lot of clients and a lot of friends who, you know, try to find and relate to the divine. And we have plenty of heteronormative depictions. Now, I feel like with pagan deities, the lines kind of get blurred between sexuality and gender, a little bit more so. So anyway, that's kind of Yalda's night. So I will be also practicing candle magic and divination. So the candle magic will be specifically wish making, is kind of what it's referred to. So every single person who's already on my Patreon, or if you subscribe before the 18th of December, you will be included in this. Or if you don't want to subscribe to the Patreon, like if you just want to participate in the ritual, you can just donate whatever you want to donate to PayPal. And that's how you get included. Now, anyone will be able to watch the ritual. I'm going to live stream it here on YouTube. So if you're not really sure if you want to participate, but you kind of would like to see it, you're welcome to watch on YouTube on December 18th. Excuse me. So, that being said, everyone who is participating is going to get a candle. I'm going to scribe and anoint and do all that with the candle on the altar. And I'm going to burn the candle to Mithra for your wish, for the coming new year, for the rebirth of the sun. So your wish can be, you know, whatever it is that you want it to be. And you can share it with me or you can not share it with me. You don't have to. It could be, you know, a new job, a new house, a new partner. It could be keeping your partner, keeping your job, keeping your house, you know, getting approved for a loan, like whatever. It can be anything that you are wanting to manifest. So think about it a little bit also as like kind of like New Year's resolutions and like what you want to manifest in the new year. It can be spiritual and esoteric, or it can be very mundane and physical. I believe over the centuries they have erased those blurred gender lines. It's sad because people in ancient times, trans people were respected and honored. Yes, absolutely. I was just talking about this not too long ago with a friend. Is the ritual for health, wealth, and fortune for the new year also? Yes, it is. Yep. Basically, like it's a blessing kind of ritual. So, you know, you eat the watermelon, the pomegranate, and the nuts, and then you burn your candle and do your bibliomancy. So when you burn the candle, that's kind of like your petition. And then there's also bibliomancy followed up with that. And there's a traditional book that is typically used for the bibliomancy, which I'm going to try to use. But if I'm not able to get the book for the ritual from my grams, then I will probably use a couple of different books. I haven't decided yet exactly, but the bibliomancy kind of foretells how your wish is going to go for the coming year. So they're usually like kind of more like mantras. So, you know, I'll open up to the book and turn to a page that I'm called to, that I'm guided to by Mithra for you. And I will read that passage, and it's kind of like a cipher and a puzzle and a divination way for you to kind of interpret how that relates to what your manifestation is in regards to, if that makes sense. So if you're interested in subscribing to the Patreon, you can find it in my About section on my channel, or it's typically in my video description underneath every video. And if you're not interested in subscribing to the Patreon, you can just do PayPal. Now, if you are on my Patreon, you're going to get early access to all of my content, as well as exclusive Patreon content. And you'll also have access to my personal occult academic library that I have personally curated and made. So all of my tarot courses, palmistry courses, cartomancy courses, astrology courses, candle magic courses, baneful magic courses, sigil craft courses, advanced tarot, advanced palmistry, advanced astro, all of these, there's so many. Because I teach these classes at our witch school at the shop. So I have a lot of educational material, lecture videos, digital documents, and that is something that is exclusive to the Patreon. So unless you're a current student, you won't have access to that material unless you're on Patreon, and that'll never be on YouTube. Now the videos, like what I'm getting ready for today, is for the Planetary magic. So anyway, enough of like the plugging the event and talking about the event. I've been doing that now for like 20 minutes. I'm sure you all are like, okay, Jasmine, like we get it. Like, stop. We get it. We get it. I just wanted to remake this video because last night I made it and my video camera was turned to the side and it was messy and I kept having to go like this to read your guys' comments. So I wanted to remake it. And I hope that you guys don't think that I'm being like spammy or obnoxious. Alexa, play Raja Kumari.
Should I play Raja Kumari?
Yes.
Shuffling songs by Raja
What are my
Kumari.
strongest spiritual capabilities? Talking about the clairs. Well, let's talk about that first and let's kind of define that because there could be people watching who aren't super sure. So I call that kind of like the blessing of the clairs. And I personally believe that most people have varying degrees of all of them, if not at least one, right? I don't think that the sixth sense is unnatural. I think it's a natural thing to have. So there's like clear thinking, clear knowing, kind of like intuition, clear hearing, auditorily hearing things, whether it be in your mind hearing it or literally like you are hearing me right now. There's clear tasting and smelling, picking up on the spirit per smell or taste. There's feeling like in your gut. That one's very common. A lot of people experience that. Like when you go to a new place or you meet a new person and you instantly kind of get like a good or bad vibe, like that's kind of what that is. People also call that being like an empath. I have opinions on that, but whatever. For me, I'm extremely clairvoyant. And not only do I see things here in my mind's eye, because that's a big part of clairvoyancy. Like people always think that clairvoyancy means that you're seeing it literally with your eyes. And sometimes, yes, that is true for me. There are times where I really see things in the physical. But a lot of times this comes up through dreams or this comes up through the astral eye. So seeing it in your mind's eye, if that makes sense. And I think that more people are actually clairvoyant than they realize. Because they think that clairvoyancy means like literally seeing it. And it doesn't have to mean that. It doesn't have to include that. People who can visualize things in their mind are clairvoyant. So if you can see something, like like as a quick example, if I tell you to picture a rose bush in your mind, third eye, is that the mind's eye? Yes, that's the mind's eye. So if I tell you to picture like a rose bush and ask you to explain to me what it feels like, what it smells like, what the texture is of the, you know, the leaves and the petals. If you can feel that or see that, then that is an aspect of clairvoyancy, as well as clairtangency, which is touch, right? Which that one is a big one for me as well. Like if I touch items, I can pick up on impressions of them. I wouldn't say that one is as big as my clairvoyancy, but it's also, you know, a clair that I feel like I have. Another clair that I feel like I have as well, like I said, I feel like I have varying degrees of all of them, as of I feel like most people probably have some or a little bit of all of them, and they might have some that are harder hitters than others. But smell is a huge one for me. Clairgustance, taste and smell, like that one's really big, really big for me. Wait, not everyone can do that? No, there are people out there who cannot do that. Seriously. There are some people out there who can't. That's not their thing. Energy vampires blaming other people because they pull energy from them. Nobody is ready for that conversation. Exactly. Okay, exactly. And I've talked about this before on my channel. Exactly. Alexa, skip.
That was the last song, starting over.
No. Alexa, play Mona Haydar.
Shuffling songs by Mona Haydar on Amazon Music.
I need more, like, I need more music to listen to. I feel like I've been listening to like the same music for a while. Can you recommend how people can develop their clairs? Psychic development, yeah. You might not want to hear this, but I think a big part of this is just meditation. That's really big. Now, meditation, this is, you know, this can be traditionally, you know, where you kind of like zen out and center your mind, or this can also be, you know, more modern, like active meditation, like working out, physically working your body, yourself out, or dancing. That's a form of meditation. That's called active meditation. And then trying to kind of center yourself in that aspect and ground and meditate is a big part of psychic development. I think another great way for psychic development is there's a book actually that I plan on reviewing on my channel called Psychic Witch. And there are parts of the book that I don't necessarily agree with, and there are parts of the book that were a little bit dry for me. I think that it's a phenomenal book, and Matt Aaron, if I'm saying their name correctly, is a great author. And I really like the exercises. That's probably my favorite part of the book. I think I see things a little bit differently than they do in terms of psychic abilities. But Psychic Witch is a newer and trending book written by Matt Aaron. You can find it on Amazon, but there's some really great visualization techniques and aspects to kind of like hone in on your clair abilities. So I would really recommend that you check that book out. We actually used that book with our book club. It was voted on by the book club. So the book club, anyone can join it. You're welcome to participate. It's free. We have a physical in-person meetup at the shop, and then we also have a digital meetup. And the book club group is on Facebook. It's called Indie Witches Book Club. I think that's what it's called. Indie Witches Book Club or Indie Witches Book Club Meetup. That's Indie as an I-N-D-Y, as in Indianapolis, because that's where we're based out of. I find meditation very difficult. Trying to make my mind quiet still takes so long. Tried music and mantras any other ways. Yeah, meditation is not easy. That's why I was kind of also recommending like active meditation, because I find that to be a little bit easier personally, because it's not necessarily about just like quieting your mind. So, but also check out the Psychic Witch book. There's a lot of really great exercises in that book. removing yourself from any electronics. Yeah, that can help too. So I'm getting ready actually to film some content on planetary magic, which is something that has been requested per Patreon. And on Facebook, I asked everyone, like in my story, I was like, you know, I'm gonna make some, yeah, check the book out, Stuart. I think that you'll really like it. I personally really liked the exercises. That was my favorite part. Which I need to actually make a video, also a book review for that book, because I'm trying to do every single video or every single book that we read in book club. I'm gonna try to do a book review on it, so I can tell you guys kind of like what I think of the book and whether or not it's, in my opinion, worth getting. And like The Psychic Witch is a good book. It's just a book that is a little bit on the dry side, but the what do you call it? The exercises are amazing. And the exercises alone are worth getting the book, because there's a lot to actually work in and work through that is in the book. I don't necessarily care for some of the other aspects of it. Not that it's bad, it's just not really my taste, you know? So I posted on Facebook, like, you know, planetary magic, like, I'm gonna make some planetary oils, like, you know, out of these planets, you know, we have the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and typical and traditional planetary magic. And there's days and times associated with these. So I was like, you know, and also too, like, per the Picatrix, like, this is also like very much some Sehir teas, some Arabian magic. I've had a lot of people asking more about Sehir and that tradition, and planetary magic is a huge aspect of this. We also see this in the Lesser and Greater Keys of Solomon. Thank you for reminding me, Stuart. So, you know, I'm gonna make some of these oils, and I'm going to share with you some recipes on how you can make these oils and how you can use these oils. And, you know, the early access to that will be on Patreon, but eventually it'll come to YouTube. And eventually I plan on, you know, making some recipes for most of the planets. I don't know if I'm gonna do a full collection video or not, but I'll have at least several of them. And there's a lot of philosophy around planetary magic as well. Like, you know, your sun sign has a planet that is associated with it, and your moon sign does as well. And you can take a look at your primary and secondary planetary aspects. So, for instance, I'm a Libra, so my solar ruling planet is Venus, meaning that my sun and the planet Venus are in conjunction with each other in my chart in that aspect. Moon, let's say you have a Taurus moon, right? Taurus and Libra are both ruled by Venus. So that would be double solar Venusian aspect. Or let's say you have a Cancer moon, you know, you have Neptune there, right? Like, so you have, or the moon, sorry. Cancer is associated with the moon. So that would be a double lunar aspect. Pisces is associated with Neptune. So you could have Neptune and Venus and work with these planetary aspects. Now, some people think, and this is very like Aleister Crowley's aspect of it, but some people think that you should work with what's lacking in your chart. So if you don't have as much planetary influence with, let's say, Saturn, that's like order and restriction and discipline. And you can use that, those sorts of oils that maybe are not, like those planets that are not as prominent astrologically for you, you can work with those to kind of bring that in to kind of balance it out. So what specifically wise, like question wise, did you have for me? Yes, I am.
But you need a therapist. Boy, you need an exorcist. Throwing up them gins and ghosts.
No playlist. Coast to coast.
Baby, habity, pretty, please. But you work it, Chucky, please. You get praise. They don't age. Rabbit, cradles, middle age.
Yes, I am. I hear that. I have some Pisces placements as well. My allergies are a little crazy right now. Oh, thank you. It's fun, I think, you know? And I enjoy, like, I know that YouTube doesn't like it because I have music in the background. But I personally really enjoy this. Like, I like being able to just come on here and just be live, and it is what it is, kinda, you know? Because, I mean, I enjoy making videos and editing and everything like that, too. Maybe a glamour magic video. Oh, that's a good idea.
What the hair look like? Bet the hair look nice. Don't that make you sweat? Don't that feel too tight? Yo, what your hair look like? Bet your hair look nice. How long your hair is? You need to get your life. You only see Oriental. You steady working that dental. You popping off at the lip and running off like a treadmill. Not your exotic vacation. I'm bored with your fascination. I need that paper.
Enchanting your oils and lotions. Hello. Talk about some glamour magic tea right there. Sorry, I don't know why that needed so much focus. What specifically about this spirit is my question? Like, what answer are you looking for from me about it? I love Mona Haydar. Oh, can y'all hear the sound of the hood over here? I want to learn more about him if he has been demonized by the religions. See, I feel like so many, it's like a mixture of being demonized and being forgotten, if that makes sense. And you can do, you know, your own research. You know, you can look through texts and Googles and digital documents. Those hood sirens going on. Yeah, exactly. you know, you can kind of do your own research, but I think at a certain point you kind of have to look at some UPG as well, like some unverified personal gnosis is what I mean by that. And you're not gonna like this again, but like kind of meditating with that energy and getting to know that spirit, I think is the best way for you to find some information. Yes. Yes, we are.
Nobody wanna talk about it. She used to say I'm too dark, habibi.
I also feel like, you know, this is not for the weak-willed or the faint of heart either. When you're talking about this particular aspect, like this is kind of some deeper, more intense stuff that right. What channel is that? Stuart, have you heard of this channel if you're still watching that Jen is talking about? Very dry, yeah. Typical. Typical. Can I share this live stream? Yes, I can. Okay. I wonder if okay. I don't know if this is going to kick me off or not, but if it does kick me off, I'll be right back. I'm just going to share this live stream for my phone. Okay, I'm back. So I guess that did not kick me off. Cool. I'm doing the same look that I did yesterday because I had to delete yesterday's live stream. After 15 minutes, you get annoyed. Yeah, I hear that. I'm kind of doing like this brown bronze, sort of like smoky eye. The screen's gone black. Still? Let me know if it's still black. I think that we might have like a little bit of a lag. I'll give it a couple minutes, and if it's still black, let me know. Because it might have just like gone black. Very black. Well, it might have just gone black when I clicked off and went on to my messenger. It's still black. Okay. Well, I guess I'll just make another live stream then. That's fine. Now's the time for our Claire skills, right? Okay, I'm gonna make another live, you guys. So I'll be right back and we'll chat on that stream, okay? Give me like 2 seconds and I'll be right back.